Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe, week 248 from Detroit. Got my cup of Joe here. Normally, I talk about or write about innovation, leadership. I have, one of the things that originally started the Cup of Joe was the answer well, the mentality of no matter the size of the question, no matter the size of the challenge, big and small, kind of bringing your whole attention and bringing your whole self to your answer and to your interactions. This week, I want to write about all that. I'm going to include all the links and have some thoughts about Detroit and the next belt. I've got some um themes I've been thinking a lot about in mortgage and real estate. They're all in the post. But in the video, it really felt like a time to talk about this larger looming fear question about how we keep each other safe. I can't stop reading and thinking about the families who are losing people to gun violence, to police violence, police shootings. 13-year-old boy shot, and thinking through, this past week, a couple weeks ago, I was having a conversation about mortgage regulation, right? About housing regulation. And my friend Brian Levy is an attorney with Cat and Temple. He has a website called Mortgage Musings, which I'll link to. And he was actually writing about forbearances and foreclosures and went to this theme about Star Trek and the Prime Directive. Don't interfere and don't make changes into these new worlds that you're exploring because that could have a unintended consequence or an impact on the world, that this alien world or this new world that you're discovering in Star Trek. So that's called the Prime Directive. And Brian was making this analogy to the CFPB and their mission of sort of do no harm, or what should be a financial regulator's mission of when you regulate, make sure that the regulated entities are not doing harm to the consumer. It got me really thinking about the police motto or mission of serve and protect. And if we had a bank or a mortgage loan officer every week, twice a week, taking the entire life savings, all the money from eight customers, 10 customers, 16 customers, 4 customers, 2 customers, and all over the country, twice a week, mortgage companies and banks were taking, through fraud or through theft, just stealing all of somebody's money 8 times a week, 10 times a week, twice over here, all over the country in 33 different cities, you know, 2 to 10 consumers were losing all of their money to a bank employee. Wouldn't we draw the conclusion that there's something broken? That the regulatory regime, the oversight, the enforcement, the monitoring in that system was broken? And wouldn't we have politicians, leaders standing up and saying, something's wrong here. We have to look into this. We have to come up with a solution. We can't have 8 to 10, a dozen citizens losing all of their money all over the place to banks every week. And yet, it feels like we have people losing their actual lives to shootings, mass shootings, to gun violence, to police shootings. And I don't hear the outcry. I don't see, maybe I'm missing it, that we've decided the system's broken, that there has to be some way to fix it, that there needs to be urgent and massive attention. The number one thing government is set up to do is to protect. That's what we're all trying to do here, protect. And whether it's foreign or domestic, the security, national, domestic, community, is what we all count on. Housing innovation isn't going to matter if we're not safe in our communities. Mortgage innovation, real estate innovation, the cool new tech that I think about all the time, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're not treated fairly and we're not seeing members of our community, black and brown people that we live with, that we work with, that we love, that run our businesses, that are consumers in our businesses, that are, like I said, our friends and family. If we can't figure out a way to protect each other, and we can't figure out a way to come to some resolution here. There's no bigger thing than safety and stability. And I just can't get over continuing to write about innovation or technology, even though it excites me, even though there's a lot going on this week, without thinking about and saying, like, the system's broken. Something's wrong. We're not keeping each other safe. We're not elevating safety and stability. And it's really concerning. And so this week, I just wanted to make the video to say that I think about that. I care about that. And if you're watching this and you've experienced it personally, violence in your life, and you feel unsafe, I feel like it's people who look like me in jobs like I have that need to say that and need to say, I see you and I want to be a part of the solution. And I think that leadership should stand up and cry out that something's wrong. And just like I didn't mean to equate financial services and public safety or people losing their lives, but it was just to try to bring it into my world or bring it into a different way of looking at it and say that there is a precedent for addressing it, right? If a company is massively ripping off people, it gets addressed. And it's this one's complicated, this one's hard. And just like that, it doesn't mean, let's use that bank analogy for a second. Doesn't mean everyone who works at that bank is a criminal. But if people are suffering fraud, suffering theft all over the country in all different contexts, branches, cities, then there would be a problem. And you wouldn't be saying everyone that works at that bank is a problem. So I'm trying to think through ways of having the conversation that bring it in a new light or twist the problem around and look at it in a new way. But the reality is, at the end of the day, it isn't about getting creative with our storytelling here. It's about saying directly, this is a problem. The system is broken. Let's fix it. And there can be innovation and creativity in the fixes, but I think it's time to stop getting creative in how we sell the problem and just simply say that's enough. And I felt very strongly that it was important for me to say that this week and just say that part of what I do on the Cup of Joe is to try to bring different ways of looking at things, different sensitivities into new pockets of my community, my professional network. And so I know a lot of you come here for the innovation and the real estate and the mortgage thoughts, the tech, what's next, and thank you always for doing that. Fundamental to all of that is safety and stability in our communities and reaching out and protecting and being in this war of attrition against racism, against violence, and being in it with our brothers and sisters in our communities. And for me, that's the prime directive. That's the thing I wanted to talk about is trying to be a small voice, a small step to be in this together and hope that that helps, hope that that makes a change, but not knowing if it will. So thank you. Thank you for watching and listening always. I'm still going to post about the things I post about, but in the process of doing so, highlight that I recognize and realize that if you're not feeling safe, if you don't feel protected, if you don't feel valued in our society, and we can't keep each other alive, then all the other innovations and all the other housing and all the other exciting stuff doesn't matter as much as let's find a way to fix the problem and keep each other safe and value each other's lives and each other's experiences. Thank you.